Hello, people, and welcome to the first ever episode of The Away End. And today I am joined by Max, a Liverpool fan. I thought I'd put myself under some pressure straight away, getting a Liverpool fan on board. Max, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk some football. It's been a rough season for me as a Liverpool fan. A bit better for you as a United fan, but we've got some transfers to talk about, and obviously going into next season, even the World Cup. I'm excited to get talking.
That's good, mate. It's good, mate. Um, yeah, I think, like you say, it's been a different season probably to the last 5 or 6 we've had between United and Liverpool. I think we've always been on the back burner, the struggle, watching
Mm.
you lot kind of rise to the top of the league. So it's been one of them. I've revelled in it, to be honest. I've I've made some
Yeah, I'm sure you
clickbait
have.
stuff. Um, but I think for me, I want to start with Slot actually leaving. That's happened what, a week and a half ago now. Um, for me as a fan looking inwards without the United bias, was it was a bit of shock really, because we're used to Liverpool kind of being all or looking as if they're organised, they know what's going on. Whereas this felt a bit like,
Mm.
right, we've left it until after the season, and 6 days after the season or whatever it was, we're going to get rid of him. It just didn't feel quite right. What were you thinking at the time? What was the fan base thinking?
Yeah, I was definitely pretty shocked because all of the indications were that he was going to stay, and we knew there was going to be an end of season review. But Slot himself was saying, I'm here next season. You've got the big journalists coming out like Ornstein saying nothing's changed. He's going to be there. So then when that notification dropped from Romano, it was a big shock, but the biggest relief probably that I've had in football for quite some time, just because it had gotten so bad, and change was right for the fan base, for the squad, for him as a manager. It just couldn't continue anymore. And I do feel kind of sorry for him looking back now. When you're in the midst of like everything that happened this season, you boil over and start maybe things go a bit personal with him. But looking back, he had a lot of hard things to contend with. Being manager, overseeing so much change, obviously the Diogo Jota situation. So it was difficult for him, but he made some critical errors, and at the end of the day, the responsibility is down to him. And we lost 20 games this season, which is just appalling. I mean, you've had some terrible seasons in recent times, but honestly, this is probably the worst season I've ever experienced as a Liverpool fan. Just everything went wrong, literally everything.
It's it's a strange feeling, isn't it? Because I've been there where you're coming off the back of, well, the season Ferguson left. You're coming off the back of that, and you're thinking, right, we might not have the brilliant world class players that we've had previously, or some of them that are
Mm,
aging, which is a similar position to you, isn't it? This
yeah,
year
it
with
was.
Van Dijk and Salah, but you go into it and you never really expect it to be as bad as it gets,
Yeah,
and it's a weird kind of reflection on what you are as a fan, I think, because you've won titles and you sit there and you take it all in, but it's a different position to be in, isn't it? When the football's not even enjoyable to watch, because
yeah.
even when Klopp wasn't winning at the start, I think there was an idea or a feeling in the in the Liverpool fan base that we're actually playing good football. I can
Mm,
see where this is going to go. Um, it was weird to see almost the sentiment to Slot change. You see last season,
mm,
and a lot of the talk was it's Klopp's team, but he's kind of settled it down, refined it almost. It looked like it was just perfectly tuned, and then for it all to fall apart was a bit bizarre, really. What do you think his overarching issue was? Was it that style of play, or was it just his personality? Or
I think both of those things definitely play into it. His style of play didn't match with what Liverpool is as a club. But yeah, as a person, he wasn't like emotional in any sense. He's very cold, and it was hard to get behind him. When you're winning games like we were last season, no one's going to talk about that. But then when the problems start to come, I mean, I stopped listening to his press conferences like halfway through this year because I just couldn't believe some of the things he was saying. And probably for you, who you watch Liverpool games here and there, but you're not in the bubble, you probably think it's not as bad as it is. But all of us Liverpool fans just we could not back him anymore, and he should have gone for me in November it had gotten that bad when we got battered by PSV, I would have got rid of him then. But we obviously hung on to him. We got Champions League football. We got battered in the Champions League. We got battered in the FA Cup. He threw the Carabao Cup, lost loads of league games along the way, conceded so many late goals. His actual team selection was baffling at times, playing our best player at right back a lot of the season. Then near the end of the season, he goes for Curtis Jones in that position, starts playing Robertson when he hadn't played him all season. It was just so many weird. McAllister, he's played all season. He's been poor, like really bad. He's finished. And yeah, just all these things accumulated got to the point where, we're playing Chelsea and the fans are booing his substitutions. The fans are booing at the end of the game. I've never seen Anfield like that, apart from maybe Roy Hodgson. But even then, we had a shit squad. So it was like, all right, fair enough. But we've got a very good squad. Like, we've just won the league. We spent 300 to 400 million. There's no real reason why we should be as bad as we are. And yeah, he had to pay the price ultimately. It'd be interesting to know what you kind of thought as a United fan throughout the season, though, looking in. I'm sure you had your fun, but did you think it was as bad as I'm putting it out there?
It was one of them. I'm probably led by what I see online. So a lot of
Mm,
the fans, you could see kind of an active change over the season. There was the start of the season, and you'd signed all of these brilliant players, and I was worried, to be honest. I really
yeah,
was, because I thought you just do one ad one, don't you? You think, right, they've just won the title, and you're adding all of this star quality in.
it should
We
work.
know that, yeah,
Yeah.
we know that football doesn't work like that. But so I was worried initially, and then I remember seeing Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Football or something like that, and he was saying, I think you've beaten Newcastle at home or
Mm,
something like that. And I remember Carragher saying, it's still not right. He said, You're way too open. You can't go
mm,
through the season like this." And it just gradually descended into this madness. I remember when United went to Anfield, and every every time I've been watching United at Anfield, there's this sense of doom, like
yeah.
something really bad is gonna happen soon,
Mm,
because it has been so bad. Um, but I never really felt in that much danger in that
no,
game. Bruno was getting on the ball, and Mbeumo and Cunha were having a bit of fun.
you
And
were the better team.
yeah, and I think the only time I can remember us kind of playing like that was when Juan Mata scored
Mm,
2 goals. Barring that, every time we go to Anfield, even if we get a result, it's scrappy, it's
yeah.
horrible. But that that midfield and the nucleus of your team felt like it had just lost its legs, it had lost its desire or whatever it was, which was so odd to see off the back of last season, really.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I follow quite a few Liverpool creators, so you see the sentiment change, and you
Mm,
see the doom and gloom, and obviously your videos and a few other lads, and yeah, it just changed so drastically. And then you're getting towards the end of the season, and I'm thinking they either do it now, especially when Alonso became available.
yeah.
I was thinking, surely they pull the trigger now, surely they do it now. And it lingers on to the end of the season, and you're thinking, right, they're not going to do it,
Mm,
which is beautiful relief for a United fan. But it's not Liverpool, is it? We've kind of labelled you as well operated, know what you're doing. It just feels a bit scattergun.
yeah. No, I
Really.
agree with that. I don't think the club were planning to get rid of him. I think the last couple of weeks really made their decision, especially with the Salah statement they came out online. That was damning. I'm calling that his final assist for Liverpool. Um, but yeah, no, the players, they weren't playing for him at the end. Like, we're scoring goals and no one's celebrating. We're conceding goals and no one's caring. That Aston Villa game. What are we watching? Like, I just, yeah, it had to change completely. And obviously, we've landed with a new manager. I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like a new man. I feel re-energized, ready to go again. And we'll see. We'll see how much he can make these players look better than they've showed last season for sure.
On to Iraola then. What was you thinking as soon as that was announced? Because from my perspective, I was looking in and I was thinking, my first thought was he's a Liverpool manager. He's got that
Mm.
style of play. He's got that kind of heavy metal football, whatever you want to call it. Um, But then when I took a second look and I looked at the squad that you've currently got, I still feel that needs a lot of work to go into next season and kind of implement what he wants to do. What was your feeling?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was just so excited. Like I say, relief that we've kind of got a new manager who can fit our identity as a club and our values. You're right, the squad does need a lot of work, and it's going to be a process. We're not going to be able to play his football straight away, but I think us football fans are a lot more patient than most people label us, especially clubs like United and Liverpool. It's like we do pride ourselves on backing our managers, and if we see us going in a direction, even if we lose some games here and there, the most important thing is that it's good to watch, and we know eventually we're going to get somewhere. So this summer, I don't want us going out there and spending 400 million again. We do need a lot of work in certain areas, but listen, as long as he comes in, does a half decent job in his first year, we see progress, maybe picks up a cup, gets Champions League football, and we feel like we're on the road to something like the early years of Klopp, then I'll be more than happy with that. That's been the biggest thing. We're no one was excited to watch Liverpool this season. Not Liverpool fans, not even you. Like you'd be happy that we lose games, but we weren't fun. We weren't fun to
Nah.
watch. We were so boring and dry, and yeah, couldn't be more different from the style of football Klopp played. So hopefully we get back to that. I don't want to keep looking back at the Klopp era because I always used to say about United fans do that with Fergie, but now I'm starting to realise why because these great eras, you're always going to compare back to that, and you feel like you're stuck constantly trying to replicate that. But football doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I just want a new era, new style. Well, not a new style, essentially. We want to go back to our roots, and hopefully he can do that. Pre-season's going to be big.
Yeah, I feel like Iraola looks like he fits. Well, I don't hope he does, but I think from a Liverpool perspective, he needs that backing because
Mm,
that squad. You look at Van Dijk, and I'd be worried about him if I was a Liverpool fan in terms of what Iraola did at Bournemouth, asking Van Dijk to be doing that. And then
mm,
you look at the attacking players. I think Bournemouth have a nucleus of just very, like, rugged footballers. You look at
mm,
Rayan, he's massive. He's 6 foot. He's a stocky lad. Where I look at Liverpool's front line, and I don't really see that. I did a video as soon as he was announced saying Verts, um, Ekatike not so much, but maybe a Gakpo and Isak.
mm,
I'm not entirely sure how that works. Obviously, he's probably going to come in and refine what he's doing. He's been using the tools that he's been given at Bournemouth. But I just think it's going to take a couple of years, isn't it, to get right? You need the likes of McAllister probably to move on, keep hold of the likes of Szoboszlai, 'cause I think he will be really good in that
mm.
system. Kirkez has obviously already done it in that system. So it's probably going to take two transfer windows to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's about pushing these players to a new limit because I think they've been in the comfort zone for so long, like physically. We were one of them. We were probably the most unfit team in the league last season, and I do have some sympathy for that because even the players came out recently and said they weren't being pushed last pre-season because obviously they were grieving a lot, so they didn't go into the season fully prepared. But I don't think Slot's kind of coaching and style of play help them at all. So that's the biggest thing for me. Iraola needs to get them into shape. And yeah, you're right. We've probably got more players who aren't capable of doing that. McAllister hasn't got legs. Verts is lightweight. Gakpo isn't a good presser. Isak isn't really either. Even Ekatike, you could say. We need a lot of work in certain areas, but I do think this kind of he needs his own players is kind of a bit of an excuse for managers these days. I think if he just gets them overperforming and playing to a better level than last year, we should be a much better team, and that's his job at the end of the day. We'll need 3 or 4 signings probably, sell a couple as well, and then yeah, move into next season. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I'm just happy with the appointment. 2-year deal as well, which is a bit surprising, but I've been told that he likes to work on short contracts.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think that's there's a few clubs. I think United have given Carrick 2 plus an
Mm,
option, and it's becoming the standard, is it? I don't know whether it's Chelsea that have scared everyone off giving
mm,
that 6-year contract or whatever it was. But yeah, it seems like a 2, maximum for a year
mm.
is I think there's an understanding if you're doing well, you're gonna get extended.
Yeah,
There's no issues, is there, on that side? Unless like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona come in, he's gonna stay at Liverpool, isn't he? If he's doing well. So
yeah.
it's not really an issue.
It's
I
about
suppose
proving himself to the club as well. He's came out in his first interview and said some really good things about wanting to be part of us. Football's about emotion, etc., etc. Like we weren't hearing these kind of quotes from Slot, so it's very yeah, very good to hear those kind of words, and we're going to get behind him straight away. Hopefully, the football reflects that as well.
I think that's a big thing, especially for Liverpool. It is at United as well, just getting the fans
Mm,
engaged. I remember Louis van Gaal at United, brilliant character,
mm,
brilliant in press conferences and stuff like that, but the football at Old Trafford
yeah,
was so dull. I don't think we scored at the Stretford end for, like, 8 months, which is
I
just
remember how dry it
crazy.
was.
But it's surprising how simple football is if you just get the fans engaged, especially at Anfield, especially at Old Trafford. If you can just get that fan base excited to watch football again, it's a massive plus. And secondly, I look at the Premier League, no one's a million miles away
No,
for me. I know we've all kind of criticised Arsenal and how they play football and stuff like that, but no one's a million miles away from being a decent side. So
no. This
it needs
Arsenal
to
team
come
aren't that
through.
amazing either. Like
No,
they they have to evolve and they have to get better. They have to probably bring in some attackers as well. But you just saying there about Carrick kind of reminds me of what Iraola has to do because things were so bad with you and Amarim. All Carrick had to do was come in and get things back to basics, play players in their right position, two banks of four. You've got it back to simple football, and all of a sudden you go on a really good run and you make Champions League really comfortably. So I do think it's actually quite easy for Iraola. He doesn't have to come in and do too much. He just has to get it back to base level, and then it will look much better because of how bad it's been.
I think that'll get him through his first season, won't it?
Yeah.
If you ultimately get back or retain Champions League football, maybe have a decent cup run, that's probably gonna be enough, I'd imagine.
Mm,
If you're
definitely.
seeing decent football and seeing an evolution in the team, because like I say, there's still Van Dijk. How many more years has he got left, do you
Mm.
think? Is it 1? Is it 2? It's not many, is it?
No, it's probably one. I think he might leave after this season. His contract expires, so that's something obviously we're going to have to think about. Probably needs to happen this summer, but I don't think the club will sign a centre back, even though Konate is left. You've got Allison leaving next year as well. Joe Gomez, these the last people of that era, they're going to be leaving. So it is a completely new era, and it is scary. It's like going into the unknown because these players haven't really proved it over as many years. But yeah, Iraola hopefully is the man for that. We need to see an improvement in recruitment and the specific profiles that we need. We need a couple of wingers, probably, like I say, need a centre back, midfielder as well. There's a lot of work to do, but like I say, if it doesn't all happen in this window, there's no need to really panic. It's about building slowly.
What are the specifics? Because as a United fan, I feel like we always know going into a transfer window, right? We need 2 central midfielders, or last year we
Mm.
needed a centre forward or whatever it is. What is the specific that you'd be saying that should be the number 1 signing?
Midfielder, I'd say probably. It's probably out of midfield or winger. Actually, it probably is winger because obviously Salah's left. Chiesa's probably going to be leaving, so that leaves us with Gakpo and Rio as wide options, and you can't be going into a season with that. It's probably a right winger, and we have been linked with a couple. Diamande and Bradley Barcola are two players that we're interested in. So pace, direct, fluid kind of wingers. Those are the players we need. Obviously, Iraola's worked with those at Bournemouth, Semenyo and Ryan, even Krupi. Yeah, probably wingers. We don't need a number 10. We don't need a striker. We need a midfielder and we probably need a right back and centre back. So it's probably around 4 or 5 players we do need, but that's not including sales. I think we're going to sell a few players as well. Gakpo's been linked to Tottenham in recent days. McAllister's been linked away. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting, but a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I think there's a lot of teams in the market for a lot of big positions this year. I think
Mm,
United, central midfield, City obviously looking at Anderson, Chelsea, I think they need an entire spine in my
yeah,
eyes.
they
They
do.
need an out and out centre forward. They need a very experienced centre back.
Keeper as
Um,
well.
and a keeper, yeah. And then Arsenal, I think coming off the back of that, I think the Champions League loss probably will do them a favour because they'll realise PSG, right, they've got that brilliant attack, or
Mm,
as it didn't play out like that on the night, but if they've got a Dembele or a Doué in their side, you can open up a bit more, can't you? In terms
mm,
of you compare that to Trossard or Martinelli, it's
yeah.
night and day really. So I think it's weird to see the Premier League in a I have no idea what's gonna happen next season. Arsenal could finish 5th or win the league for me.
Yeah, they could fall off. Yeah, they
Yeah,
could. I think
yeah.
they've been linked to Rodgers, haven't they? He's a pretty good player. Like they need more X factor in that forward line, but no, you make a good point. Maybe the Champions League loss will do good for them because then they'll still have that motivation to go again. But I do feel like they need an evolution, and their base level is higher than everyone else's. So even when they don't play well, they can still draw or win 1-0 for a set piece. That's my issue with them. But it's not like Liverpool and City, you know, the era where you had to just make 90 points a year. It's not like that anymore. I think we could probably see an 85-point title winning team next season as well. We're kind of in that era of football at the minute. It's not a great product, the Premier League overall to
No,
watch, is it?
no, no. I've struggled a lot this season to so normally I'll watch every game that I'm available to watch.
Mm,
I'll sit on the sofa, I'll watch what I need to watch, but there's been a lot of times this year where I've turned off the football and I've put on a
yeah.
movie because I'm not enjoying it,
Mm,
and that's every single club really. I think at even the Klopp days when it was difficult to watch Liverpool play because you were very good, but
mm,
I'd still watch it knowing that it was at least you're getting a product.
yeah.
Whereas now with Arsenal, I just can't do it. It's
No, it
it's
is
rough.
rough. And I think they're setting the blueprint, aren't they? Loads of teams are following them with these set pieces, long throw-ins, the small margins. I hate this small margins stuff, man. It's painful, painful. City weren't amazing this year, and I think it was more on them that they didn't win the league because they're the ones who kind of threw it away in that Everton game. But if City, not many people talking about them because Pep's gone, but if they can tweak a few things, I think Maresca's a good manager.
Yeah,
Then next season, maybe get a few signings. They're always going to spend money. Maybe they'll come back and be just as good as Arsenal and maybe pip them this time.
yeah. I think City have got the base of a team to be, and it's quite a young side now. Some of the older, you've only really got Rodri who's getting on centre
Mm,
half, Gueye and Kuzanov. I think that's a good pairing. Obviously Haaland if he sticks around, Semenyo, Cherky,
mm.
it just needs a couple in there, doesn't it? A good central midfielder, I think.
Yeah, it's the experiences. Everyone, City and Liverpool are basically they followed the same kind of path where like City have lost Bernardo this summer, John Stones, these big players. It's all coming to an end. So at the end of this season, it felt like a complete end of season kind of thing for the Premier League in terms of like a completely new chapter next year. I just hope it's not the Arsenal chapter where they just continue to win the league because yeah, that'll be painful.
Yeah, I don't see it. It's the fan in me, but I keep looking at United and saying we're not a million miles away.
No, you're
And
not.
I'd, I've said that a lot of times as well over the last
Mm,
12, 13 years, where I know under Mourinho, I felt like we had a manager that football wasn't necessarily great, but when we signed like Lukaku and Pogba, I just felt, right, we've got a team to really attack this. And then likewise under Ollie, where we got Varane,
mm.
Ronaldo, Sancho, that felt like a sprinkling of what we need. And then this season, we're talking about midfielders, maybe a left back in Lewis Hall,
Mm.
and I think that looks like a really good side. But then it doesn't play out like that, does it? As you've seen this season, going and just simply spending money doesn't doesn't equal success.
No, you need balance. You definitely do need balance. But let me ask you this then about United next year. Do you think you can? Do you see yourself challenging for a title under Carrick?
I mean, the fan in me wants to say yes, but if I'm being a realist, I feel like Carrick's a bit of a stopgap. He's come
Mm.
in, he's calmed the club down as he does. I think he's really difficult in press conferences because
Yeah.
he just shuts everything down.
Mm.
Unlike Amarin, who was like
Oh,
laying
he brought it
everything
on.
out.
Yeah.
Um, but I think he's got the potential to kind of move us up the league and maybe have a decent run in the Champions League. It's just whether we've got the patience to do the Arteta 6, 7,
Mm.
8 years, um, which I don't know whether this board is going to have because you look at their recent transactions of Amarin and the Ten Hag situation, and ultimately Sir Jim Ratcliffe's mid-70s now. He's going to
Mm.
want to see some return on his investment, so he's not just going to stick it out for 6, 7 years. Um, I think next year could be really big for Carrick. I think if he can mount not necessarily within a couple of points, but if we can be there or thereabouts, where at the end of the season we're excited, we're maybe in a quarter final or a semi final of the Champions League, we've done all right in the cups.
Mm.
I think that could be a really big movement for him because there's a lot of feeling in the fan base that he's not the guy. Um, I've been quite staunch on saying that I want him to get a chance. I think
Yeah.
he deserves his chance, whereas a lot of fans are saying just go out and get Luis Enrique, as if it's that simple to kind of
Exactly.
get Enrique in. And I would have done if Enrique had come on the market and said, "Right, I'm ready to go." I probably would have gone for Enrique. But then you look at the rest of the managers, like you look at all of the top six and the managers that they've currently got. They're all projects. They're all a bit of a risk.
Mm.
Iraola, Alonso's probably the most experienced and proven
And he's
out of the
still pretty
entire.
young.
Yeah, yeah, and you look at like De Zerbi at Spurs and Arteta. Like I said, I don't necessarily think he's got that kind of generational streak in him. I think he's put together a really good squad
Mm.
and system. Um, but yeah, I think next year's a massive for Carrick. If we can get in that position at the end of the season where we still feel like we're growing, I think that could be massive.
Yeah, you got the momentum right now, haven't you? That's what I was seeing with United at the end of the season. Even though you had some games where you are vulnerable at the back, that's what I always thought. You're always going to concede chances. Even when you played us at Old Trafford, we didn't need to work for our chances. You gave them to us.
Yeah,
You gave us 2 goals, and we still managed to mess it up. But the game should have been out of sight. You've got so much quality in the final third with those players who you bought last year. Obviously, Bruno went crazy this year as well. So you probably need, yeah, it's the midfield, isn't it? That's the biggest area. I'm not sure what you think about maybe right back or centre back as well.
for me, the central midfielders they've got to be right,
Yeah,
really. There's so much noise in terms of the 6, 7, 8 names that have been linked. I think we have to get the balance right.
yeah,
Some people are saying, right, I want to sign Edison, Tonali, and Belieber. And I'm sat here thinking that doesn't work for me because they're
no,
three very not similar, but you know what you're getting out of them.
mm,
Whereas I'd probably like maybe a Chouameni, a, a Steeler or a Scott, someone a little bit
mm,
more technical, and then maybe just a runner in amongst that really.
different
Um,
profiles. Yeah,
yeah, just different profiles so you can mix it up a bit. We've already got Manu, who is a technician, needs to
yeah,
do a lot more in certain games, but I think having someone alongside him that he knows can do that kind of legwork is going to help him out. And then Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall's the one for me in
yeah.
terms
He's
of
class.
he's the A star. I think if you're talking about the left back position, it's him or Nuno Mendes. You're not getting Nuno
Mm,
Mendes.
no.
And for me, just go and get Lewis Hall. Your left back position is sorted then for 7, 8, 9 years and just move on from that. You just leave that and let it sit. as it is.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
and we've got some exciting Harry Amas, who's been out on loan. I think he could potentially come back in and do kind of that backup role. He's
mm,
good, he's technical. Dorgu, I'm not entirely sure what he is.
yeah, okay.
Um, but
He's a
then the
he's a forward, isn't he? He's got some hidden ability in there.
he's one of them. Is you watch him and you think he's not very good at football, but then he puts up numbers
Mm,
when he plays in that left wing position. I remember I went to the first game he played left wing. It was under hammering actually when he swapped to that 4 at the back and he put Dorgu up there
he's
and he scored
Newcastle,
again.
isn't
Yeah, he scored
he?
again that
Yeah,
volley against Newcastle. And I was sat there, I was thinking, this just doesn't look right, but it
yeah,
worked ultimately, and it has worked since. Um, and that, but I did a video the other day saying that if we can't keep the centre halves fit, because Mateus De Ligt and Martinez for me are second or third in the Premier League
mm,
as a partnership, but we never see them on the pitch together.
no,
They've probably played 10 games together in a back
mm,
three. I want to see them 30 to 35 games and then just let the rest of the team play for me.
yeah,
But
injury problems, isn't it? But you've
yeah,
got quite a good bank of centre backs. Like you got Maguire in there, who's done well to come back. Euro as well. But yeah, I look at the fullbacks. No, I've never really been impressed with Dallo. I think you probably need a right back. Luke Shaw's been really good this season, to be fair, but again, he's
yeah,
coming towards the end of his career, really. So goalkeeper's a big one. He's done really well
yeah.
this season. So yeah, you've got a good foundation, I'd say. It's just about adding in little pieces now. And I can't lie, when the season starts well, in August, I'm going to be a bit wary of United to see what they can do. But maybe yeah, they can push into the top two. You literally never know.
Yeah. I did. I've said it before. I really want to see a United Liverpool proper title race
Mm,
because as much as the City Liverpool, the United Arsenal Chelsea early on, it's Liverpool United would have a different feel to it.
oh
I
yeah.
think everyone will be fully engaged in that. And we've never really had that, have we? We've
No.
had the couple of seasons with, um, yeah, like late 2000s.
Yeah,
I think
Rafa.
you finished,
Yeah.
yeah, we had a couple of seasons there, but it never really felt like an out and out title race. But
Mm.
I'd love to see us go neck and neck and see what came out really.
It's weird, like Liverpool and United, the two most successful teams in the country, but we've never really been good at the same time, ever.
No,
Even going back a long time ago into like the 70s and 80s, when one club's doing really well, the other usually drops off. And obviously in recent years, I've been enjoying it, but I take you back to my childhood and it was nothing but pain, I'm telling you. You just winning every game against us, winning the league every year. So these past few years have been really enjoyable for me, but I do have a feeling that football goes in cycles, so you're going to come back eventually, pretty soon, I'd say.
I think we're too big not to, and
Mm,
Liverpool were ultimately. It
yeah,
it was always gonna come back around. Arsenal as well, I think,
mm,
as much as the fans might annoy us online at times,
mm,
they are a big club, aren't they?
yeah,
You know that they're gonna come back around and pull something together. But you probably feel the same way about Liverpool. I don't really want it to be a flash in the pan. I want us to be sustainable going forward
yeah,
in terms of, right, we might have this squad that we think can get second or third in the Premier League, and you're in a position maybe next season where you just need that one person to come in, like you
mm,
got your Van Dijk or your Alisson,
yeah,
or just one player that can come in and kind of elevate the entire team. Because as much as Bruno's been brilliant this season, he's not going to be here forever. And
no,
I look at the rest of that team and I think I'm doing that with the midfielders now who we're looking at signing. I'm thinking, right, what does this team look like after Bruno Fernandes?
mm,
Because it's fine getting a number 6 to protect Bruno now, but is that what we need in 4 years'
yeah,
time?
yeah.
So and that's what Arsenal have done, isn't it? They've literally looked at every position, filled it up with decent squad depth,
The
and then
depth is good.
put Declan Rice in there or put a Gabriel in there or whatever it is.
Yeah, their depth is very good. Though you look at, they've just got cover all along the back four. they've kind of gone for that approach: defense and midfield, make sure everything's solid. Like we were saying earlier, their attack isn't that good at all, and that's let them down at times this year. But as soon as you don't concede goals, then you're in basically every game of football, and that's what they've done. They're so hard to score past. I don't think if PSG didn't get that penalty, I think that ends 1-0 pretty comfortably as well, because I didn't think they had any chances at all, really. So they were quite fortunate, but that was a great hate watch, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful at the
It
end.
was so good.
Yeah, I think PSG, for as good as they are, you have to give Arsenal some credit because
Yeah,
they completely shut them out. Dembele, I thought, barring the penalty, was really poor.
it was awful.
Doué, I didn't think looked very good at all. Obviously, Vitinha and Kvaratskhelia looked lively.
Mm,
Um, Vitinha's a joy to watch, isn't he? I just wonder, could they? I said this to someone the other day. Could they do that in the Premier League? Could Vitinha come here and do 120, 130 passes every single game?
mm,
Because that's the style of football, isn't it? You want. If I could pick a style of football for United right now, it would be that
yeah.
fast, direct, but also the ability to get on the ball and just play it about.
Oh, they're so
Um,
good, man. They're so
yeah,
good. I mean, we played them 2 seasons on the bounce. Hardly came close to them. I mean, we nearly went to penalties last year, and we were quite good in the second leg, but the first leg should have been about 5-0 to them. They're the best team in the world, and hopefully they set the blueprint for football across Europe. But I feel like in this country, it's Arsenal at the moment. And it's two completely different styles, but a lot of people going at Arsenal for the final and the way they played, calling it embarrassing. I wasn't on that train at all because, listen, if you go out and you try to play against PSG, they're just going to rip you apart. So it would just be suicide. They done really well to set up and not concede many chances, and they were a penalty kick away from winning the Premier League and the Champions League, which I don't know how I would have coped with that all summer.
I'd have probably had to have a bit of downtime, 6
Yeah.
weeks off the internet, something like that. It's interesting. I think uh, have you seen the rumours of the Real Madrid wanting to sign this 150
Yeah.
million pound? Who do you think that is?
I think it's Doué.
Yeah, right.
I think some people. I think it might be Elise, either one of those. But yeah, Doué is one of them where I don't feel like he's getting the amount of credit that he should do. Everyone talks about Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner. Everyone talks about Kvaratskhelia, who had an unbelievable Champions League run this year. But Doué is probably the third player that they talk about when they talk about the PSG attack. But I think he's so good with his age, his versatility. He can play on the wing or he can play centrally. His footwork is a joke. He's good off both feet as well. I really, really like him. And I think he's only around 20 or 21. So 150 million. I mean, he's probably worth it. But I think it might be Elise, who's another ridiculous player.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're the shining lights, aren't they? At least
Mm,
they're early on in the Champions. It's just a joy to watch, isn't it? That
mm.
PSG buying game. I can't remember a game where I've been that excited to watch it. I just didn't want it to end because
Yeah.
I think there was an acceptance from both sides because people said it was bad defending. I think if you watch the
Oh,
goals back, it was just unbelievable finishing and quality and drive. And PSG are the epitome of that. They're just relentless. They just go
yeah.
forward in absolute waves, and they give the ball to their best players, which I like. I see a lot of teams kind of just wanting to play this systematic, like going out to the fullbacks in high
Mm,
positions and stuff like that. Whereas they give it to the wingers and they just say, right, just go and
yeah.
do what you need to do, which is joyous. But their fullbacks are probably better than most wingers in the
They're
league
incredible.
anyway.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's like passes without any purpose. I think that's what you're referring to there. That's what,
yeah,
yeah, annoys me about most teams, especially in the Premier League these days. But yeah, PSG, everything they do has intent behind it, and Bayern Munich done that in that first leg. Probably the best game of football I've ever seen. I can't even lie. It was just
yeah,
so good to watch. Straight adrenaline for 90 minutes. And anyone who said it was bad defending, that's your problem. Because if you choose to view football in that way, I can't get behind it. But Elise and Doué both playing for France in the World Cup, so and they probably have the best squad, yeah, overall. But we'll see if they can win it. I'm excited for the World Cup. Close now.
Yeah, so what's your thinkings going into it then? Because I've done them online predictors where you kind of go
Mm,
through the group stages and predict every round, and I ended up with Portugal, which
mm.
I don't know whether that was with my Bruno Fernandes hat on or Cristiano
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo hat on, but I think just as I worked through it, it fell into place. I think France, they've got a brilliant team, brilliant squad. The front line it's a cheat code really,
Yeah, it is.
but they've got Norway and Senegal in their group, haven't they? Which
Yeah,
I think might just knock a bit of confidence out of them.
quite tricky.
I mean, I might be completely wrong, and they might just go and beat both of them teams,
Mm.
and that's what it is. But yeah, who are you looking at? Who are you thinking's the shining light?
I mean, yeah, from just quality of players, you have to go France, but historically, they do play quite a pragmatic style in these tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see how they fit all of these amazing attackers in. I don't think they've got a great midfield. That's the only thing. They've got solid defense, but midfield, maybe fullbacks. I'm not too sure. France are always up there for me, but I think with the climate in America, you do have to look at the South American teams as well. Argentina, obviously the holders, but can Messi do it again? Not too sure. Portugal's midfield is top. I've done a video on that. Neves, Bruno, and Vitinha, really, really good. Brazil, maybe it's Neymar's time. I do quite like their team, but I think in certain areas they haven't got the best players. So yeah, I think if I had to place my money on any team, I probably would just go France. I think they've got the experience. They won in 2018. They got to the final in 2022. So I'd probably go France. Mbappe always loves turning up in the World Cup.
Yeah, I was watching the all of the goals from the last World Cup, and
Mm,
Mbappe's just something switches on in his brain. Does he? He's
does.
obviously an elite level footballer, but he's just so clutch in them big moments, them big games. Um, and I suppose going on to England,
Yeah, no England. We didn't mention England there.
yeah, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because I'm club first. I'm not
Yeah,
overly concerned about England, but as soon as it gets to the World Cup, I'll be right there and I'll be watching
same.
all of the games and stuff. Um, but if you go back to the squad announcement, that caused massive uproar. Did you see it as bad as what it was kind of perceived online, or were you on a different train?
No, I did think it was pretty bad. I did think certain players should what 100% have been in there, and then you're looking at the players he took instead. Just for example, Dan Burn, I just don't understand why he's there in midfield. I don't think Adam Wharton was there. Jed Spence over a Trent. He made some bold moves, but maybe that's what England need because over the years, Southgate and over the Southgate years, he did get pressured into playing all of these players and fitting them in. I remember in the last Euros, there wasn't a really good balance to the team. Foden was like on the left, Trippier was left back, Bellingham was in there as well. So maybe we have a better balance with this squad Tuchel has picked, and he's not in the England bubble, and he's a great knockout manager, I must say. So maybe we do have a chance, but I just think quality of players. Do you think we're lacking in certain areas, even off the bench? Do we have really play? Do we have any wild cards? That's why I would have taken a Cole Palmer. I would have taken a Palmer, maybe even a Foden. Players who can do something off the cuff. Don't know if we've got that now, but I think we'll go. I think we'll go pretty far. To be fair, I think quarterfinals minimum, but as always with England, you never feel like you're going to get it over the line. Even in recent years, when we've got to a final, semi-final, it always goes wrong, doesn't it? Some
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Tuchel's he could be the difference in terms of when you look along the sideline. I never felt confident that Southgate was going to
No.
get us over the line. I think he did very well in kind of collating and community and all of that type of stuff. And the England team it is a lot more settled. It feels like it's got its leaders and that people know what their job is. But I just worry about them big games. Like you say, a Cole Palmer who he came on at the
Yeah,
last tournament and he created the goal, didn't he? I think for Ollie Watkins, and then
did.
he obviously scored. I just think a little moment like that, if Bellingham's kind of ran himself into the ground, who's gonna do that
Yeah.
for this England team?
Trent as well. Trent,
Trent, yeah, yeah. As much I can talk about Trent because he's not as at Liverpool now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's yeah, but I think Trent's got an ability to unlock
Mm,
defenses just from anywhere really, which is it's unique. And you think especially about the climate over there, it's going to be very hot at the majority of
yeah,
the games. I think going into we're going to see so many goals in that 70, 80,
yeah.
90-minute
Team
mark.
style.
So you almost need your finishers and your starters. Like, you need to break it up like that, and you need to have teams where you've got a bit of flexibility. So you might start with the likes of Gordon, who's stretching defenses and going in behind
Yeah,
and tiring the fullbacks. But I would have liked a different angle in terms of a Cole Palmer then kept coming on late in the game to influence it. Um, but yeah, some of this is like Dan Burn for me over Lewis Hall is just
yeah. No, Lewis Hall
crazy.
is absolutely crazy. But you do look at. I do find like people when squads get announced for tournaments, people focus on like I was hearing a lot. Oh, Welbeck should go, but like realistically, Welbeck, even if he does go, he's not going to play. So I do think people focus on that a lot, like the players on the outskirts. But if you look at England's 11, it is pretty solid. I must say, there's quite a nice balance to it. So like you've got Pickford in goal, Reece James. I assume it's going to be Konsa and Gahey at centre back. They've both had good seasons. Left back will be O'Reilly, won't it? And then I think it's going to be Rice, Anderson, and Bellingham in midfield. Saka on the right. Left wing's probably the question whether you go with Gordon or Morgan Rogers, probably those two fighting it out, and then Kane up top. Like it's not a bad team at all. I think that can get you to the quarterfinals. But in that climate where there's more games as well, you need rotation. I don't really believe in the players backing them up. Really,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could be interesting. The Anderson Rice pivot, it works, but again, I worry about them big games. I remember that
mm,
Spain game. I remember when Rodri went off, and everyone was sat there
yeah,
thinking, "Right, this is it. This is our time." And then Zubimendi comes on and just almost takes control of the game and absolutely kills England. I just worry that anyone coming in, there could be quite a severe drop off.
yeah,
Like if you end up with Dan Burn at left back, I think we're in danger. not
yeah.
not to slander Dan Burn, I think he's been good, hasn't he, for Newcastle?
Mm.
But it, yeah, yeah, it's one of them things.
We get in these tournament games, big tournament games, semi final, final. We get suffocated by teams who can just keep the ball better than us. And in the Euros, obviously, Kobe Minu played in most of the games, and I was thinking that's our player to keep us ticking. But even then, we just sit back, and it feels inevitable that the other team will go on to score. Even the Croatia game, going back to 2018, it's a common
Yeah,
theme that Italy won, and then against Spain in the last Euros final, just feels kind of inevitable. But we don't really produce players like Vitinha, some players like that. Anderson and Rice, you're right. Maybe they're not really like that. I do really like Elliot Anderson, though. I think he's wicked.
yeah, it's good. I'm probably warped by the valuations I've seen because
Yeah, he's mad.
I don't think he's £115 million player. I think
Yeah.
it's almost unfair for him to say that he is because he's very good and he's doing very well. I think it's disingenuous to say that he is that player really, and I think that's kind of happened with Declan Rice. He's gone to Arsenal
Mm,
for a massive transfer fee, and people are Gary Neville says it all the time. Declan Rice is the one that's going to get him over the line, and I don't see it like that at all. I think he's
mm,
very good. He does his job. He adds a lot to that Arsenal team, and he adds a lot to this England team. But he also wilts in certain games. I think the France game, there was a phase in that game where he just couldn't get involved,
mm.
and I've seen it against Spain, and yeah, it's just unfortunate, really. But I think as a pairing, they're good. You can rely on what they're going to do. They've got a
Yeah.
certain level of quality, which will get you. I think that starting 11 gets you to the quarterfinals without much trouble.
I
It's
agree.
it's the other 2 games after that, isn't it, where you need Tuchel to really pull something out of the bag.
Yeah, he's a great tactician, great like knockout manager. Like I said, even what he done at Chelsea, overperforming with their squad, which I didn't even think was that good, but they won that Champions League. They were comfortably the best team. Yeah, you mentioned the DMs there. The prices these days, mate. Even when you're linked with someone from a different league, it's going to be 60, 70. It's mad. And then when you add on the English tax, Premier League tax, goes to another level. That's why I would have taken Adam Morton though, because I've said he's like a Spanish player. Like he never
Yeah.
loses the ball, like ever. So again, if you, in that kind of heat, you're going to need to just give the ball to a player who can keep hold of it. And that's why I would have taken him. No, I can't really, Minu has gone, isn't he? Kobe's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know who
I d
else in the midfield.
there's not really any
Henderson.
others. Yeah, Henderson, that's it, yeah. Yeah, but I would have taken Wharton, but not against Henderson, but I think Wharton gives you a completely different dynamic in terms
Mm,
of I think there's potential for someone to break in. Like, I think Mainu could come into that midfield after a
yeah.
couple of games if it's not working, and I think Wharton could have probably done the same in terms of maybe with the heat, maybe the running isn't as much of a maybe teams are sitting in because they wanna
Mm,
conserve energy, so you need someone like a Wharton to maybe pick a lock or play a ball through or whatever it might be. And he's got that ability. He's so good to watch. I saw a slow motion video of him, which I love anyway. But
mm.
you watch him in slow motion, and you think he's such a beautiful player to watch.
Yeah, his left foot is so nice. He's been linked to Liverpool quite a lot, but the issue is we probably don't need a type like him. We probably need more of an Elliot Anderson, more of an all rounder. But yeah, they're two players who I really, really enjoy watching. It's just a shame that these price tags. If they go for that money, then people put unrealistic expectations on their head. I think Rice people expect unrealistic things from Rice that he just doesn't have in his locker. Like he's not a Xavi. He's not going to control a game. He's very good at what he does, but it's the money. The fact that he was 100 million, people expect all of this. Even like a Caicedo as well. I think they changed like valuations for DMs, and now you're seeing everyone follow that. So football is in a dark place when it comes to transfer prices, mate. It's long gone for me.
Yeah, it's difficult because the like Verts and Isak,
Mm,
I can see the quality in them, and I understand that there's a potential next season if they stay fit that they could just tear the league apart.
mm.
They are that good. Obviously, I've had my laughs, and I think Verts has been protected at times in terms of because I always compare it to what United players have had. So obviously, Pogba when he came
Yeah,
in was ridiculed, and he got 4 assists in one game that I was at, and Souness
yeah.
said after the game, "That's what you expect." And you always look back and you think, right, it's just not right to kind of put that
Mm.
expectation, is it? But I think there's an appreciation of Verts and Isak that the quality's definitely there. It's just some maybe fine tweaks and
Yeah, we did
yeah,
overpay for them. Well, right now we did overpay for them. You can't say anything. Like they've both been disappointing. Even Vert's had a good period after Christmas where he was our best player, but he came back from his injury around February, March, and he's been really tough to watch. But wouldn't surprise me if he is one of the best players of the World Cup for Germany, because every time he goes to Germany, he plays really well. I think he's got pace around him in that team, which he doesn't have at Liverpool, and he's basically platformed in a better way. I believe in Isak. Isak's not a problem. As in, like if he stays fit, I think that's 20 goals. He's such a good finisher, but he probably wasn't worth that amount of money. Just hopefully we can get a Premier League or a Champions League over the line. They can contribute heavily, and then yeah, and then we can say fairs. But yeah, the prices these days, mate. Like I say, it is mental.
yeah.
100 million everywhere.
That's the thing, and I think the other players below that price. So we're obviously looking at Mateus Fernandez from West Ham.
Good
They're
player.
putting valuations of 80 million on him, and
And they
I'm
got
like,
relegated.
you've got relegated.
Mm,
He's been relegated back to back. because he was at Southampton,
Yeah,
wasn't he, the year before? And that's no indication on his quality, but I think that's just the price of everyone now. A
yeah,
midfielder will cost you 70, 80 million pounds
yeah. It's the English
at
game.
trades.
Even like
Yeah,
when Southampton got relegated, do you remember the Dibbling one? They're saying we want 60, 70 million for Tyler
yeah,
Dibbling. I think he went for 30 in the end and hasn't done anything at Everton. But these clubs do it because they know they can fleece the top clubs. There's so much money in the Premier League these days, man.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, um, I think we'll call it a wrap there. Excited
Sweet,
for the World Cup. We'll uh, we'll try and line one up maybe after a few games and see where England are at.
hundred
And
percent, mate, hundred
yeah,
percent. And
yeah,
going into next season as well, be interesting to talk more.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think for the channel, I want to get. I'd like to have 2 or 3 people on at one time, maybe,
Mm,
and just let everyone argue it out, and I'll sit back and
yeah,
see
no,
where we
hundred
go
percent,
from
mate.
there. But
You're
yeah,
doing some
yeah,
good work. So I hope it goes all well.
yeah. Appreciate you coming on, mate. Where can everyone find you?
On TikTok, on Instagram, Max Waves. Those are my two main platforms. I am on X and on YouTube as well, but not too consistent on those. So it's mainly TikTok and Instagram. Go and check it out. Daily football content.
Love that. Yeah, I'll put some links and stuff in the
Sweet.
description as well. So, yeah, lovely talking to you, mate. I'll see you all in the next one.
Peace.